Today we're discussing items from the 90s that are extinct or near extinction. We're going to rank them based upon the red conservation list to see if they are vulnerable, endangered, or in fact extinct. What I want you guys to do at home is to hit me in the comment section to see which one of these you actually had growing up, or if you still have any of these today. Let's dive in. Do you remember plastic couch covers? You probably do from your nan's house, maybe even your aunt's house. And every time you moved, it sounded like a little squeak and your siblings thought you farted. Well, in the summer, they were hot as hell, stuck to your legs, and in the winter, they were absolutely frozen. Underneath, the sofa was absolutely pristine, and somehow they never used to split. And to actually remove them off and put a new one on, it was like a surgeon had to operate on them. Experience slightly traumatizing, really confusing. I got the logic, but we've just replaced it with froze. I've not seen plastic couch covers in probably 25 plus years. So for me, these go in as extinct. Glass stereo cabinets. I know you guys, just from looking at this image, can hear the sound of this door opening and closing. It's just a thing of absolute beauty. It perfectly fits in your stereo system at the top, with your CDs and your cassettes underneath. It was more for aesthetic appeal because it was actually very rarely used. It was used for special occasions, birthday parties, Christmases, or somebody doing something really well at school or like a really special gathering. I'm going to call this one extinct because I've not seen one of these in anyone's house in at least maybe 15 plus years. Waterbeds was sold as a luxury item in the 90s. The reality, it was like sleeping on a giant warm Capri Sun. Now I know that sounds like a lot of fun, but imagine that Capri Sun leaking everywhere and leaving stains on your ceilings. Now our parents said that they was good for their backs. We don't believe them now and we didn't believe them then. And the reality is they just disappeared pretty much overnight. Waterbeds for me are absolutely extinct. Internal iron railings. These black iron railings were often found on the first floor of a property or in between like the hallway and the living room. Really strange why they had them in there. Now I was going to put these as extinct, but I went to view a house a couple of weeks ago and they had them in the upstairs of the property. The property hadn't been updated for 40 years. It was absolutely a fixer-upper. But I can't put them as extinct because I know there's so many properties in the UK and around the world which have people who've lived there for 40, 50 years where they might still have these iron railings. So I'm going to go for endangered, but I think if I do this video again in 10 years time, these will absolutely be extinct. VHS Rewinder. Yes, you heard that correctly. We had our own system to wind back a VHS tape, which wasn't your VCR. How this worked was you'd watch your movie on the VCR player, take out the VHS tape, put it in the rewinder, and it would just wind it back. Then you just stick another movie into the VCR player and you're good to go. The reason why we actually did this was, well, it was a heavy load on your VCR player to wind back the tapes all the time. It was loud, it was aggressive, and they used to get tangled up quite a lot, which would destroy your videotape. So the rewinder just used to solve that problem for us. And this was kind of like when winding back a VHS was a rule, not a suggestion, before Be Kind Rewind actually came in. For me, this one is absolutely extinct. Again, I've not seen one in 20 plus years. A Rolodex was the original LinkedIn. Growing up for me, this was any business person or anyone of like significance had a Rolodex. And it's almost like a status symbol. As you would flick that Rolodex around, it would make the swooshing noise. You pick out the contact and you give it to your friend. It was just one of those insane things that I only saw maybe once or twice growing up because I wasn't in those circles. Now, obviously, Rolodexes are extinct. With the progressiveness of technology and LinkedIn, they're just not needed anymore. I kind of wish they'd come back because just flicking through your phone and making the call, it just doesn't have the same effect. Fabric covered toilet seats. I was thinking about this one a lot today because it's really cold in the UK right now. And I was thinking, you know what? That could be really useful. But then you think about the hygiene factor and the fact that they were never washed. And there's always spillages from both ends, which is just absolutely disgusting. But they were in every single person's bathroom growing up. We had one growing up. I'm thinking back, it's pretty disgusting. These obviously just disappeared overnight. They are absolutely extinct and I just don't see these ever coming back. Home telephone answer machines. It used to be really thrilling back in the day, coming home, seeing 2 new messages flashing up on the screen and you pressing that button with anticipation just to hear, oh crap, and then putting the phone down because you actually got your answer machine. Now, obviously, these are extinct in today's world. There's very few people even have like home telephones anymore. And now we have voicemails, which suck in all kinds of different ways. There's no suspense and people often just don't leave them. This verdict on this one is extinct. We didn't actually buy cereal toys growing up for the cereal. We bought it for the toys every single time. And we were stomaching the fruit and fibre for the next 2 weeks because we've got the really cool mask pencil topper in it. And in today's world, nowadays, kids just get QR codes, which just sucks for today's kids. Now, the reason why this actually changed was kind of 2 or 3-fold. Number one, they became a choking hazard for kids and companies were getting sued. And number 2, the actual plastic in them was like the toxins were going into the cereal and there's contamination and it became really difficult and expensive for companies to actually do. And the last thing is, well, the cereal's not actually allowed to be marketed to kids anymore because generally they're quite high in sugar. So because of those reasons, cereal toys are unfortunately now, as we know them, extinct. Anti-skip was possibly the biggest lie of our generation. One sudden movement, your CD skipped and you lost 5 to 10 seconds of that song. And today's kids will just not realise that we used to take one CD with us to school, listen to that whole album day after day after day until we got the next one. And it's the reason why I feel music was so special in the 90s and early 2000s. It was like more care was put into it than what it was in today's world. For me, I'm going to put personal CD players in the extinct column, and there's many obvious reasons for it. The iPod started to kill it and the iPhone just took care of it. Halogen lamps. These things were so bright. If you think about headlights today on cars, which just seem to get brighter and brighter, that was a halogen lamp. And well, I touched it, and comment if you actually touched it, and it took your fingertips off. It was just insanely hot. Now, health and safety eventually caught up and halogen lamps just vanished overnight. So this is quite an easy one. Halogen lamps, unfortunately, because they were really cool, are extinct. Home entertainment centres for me have just evolved. For me, they're not extinct, but I'd put them as an endangered species because how we knew them growing up, this big, amazing wooden frame, all the different shelves, and your TV slotted in the middle of it, that was just awesome. Nowadays, they're all kind of built in. The house that I've bought now, we're in it, and it's all kind of like, the entertainment centre's like already built in. And that's how the entertainment centres have actually gone. So how we knew them, I'm going to say that they are endangered. They're not extinct. I know some people do still have these. But I do think in the future, home entertainment centres as we know them from the 90s will be extinct. And we're going to be left with, well, what I've got in my living room. Fluorescent electronics. We had it so good in the 90s and 2000s. Transparent phones, neon controllers, the consoles, the iMac. We had the future in our fingertips and it was just a thing of beauty. And then all of a sudden minimalism crept in and killed our hopes and dreams. I still don't know to this day why this has happened, why they think this, what we have today is better than what we had. It's not. Maybe it's a cost-cutting element of it. I'm not sure. Maybe it was the sales and the sales of today's products are better. I don't know. If you do know, hit me in the comment section. I've got to say, based upon today's world, this is extinct, but I hope this is something which is revitalized in the future. I don't see it happening though. VHS tapes. Now, today's kids might call this big, clunky, old. To me, just look at what the graphics which you get in it and the inside, the inserts, the tape, everything. I'm a massive fan of VHS tapes. I always will be. Now, VHS tapes, in terms of new VHS tapes being made, are extinct. I don't think anyone will ever make another VHS tape ever again of a movie. However, there's a big push at the minute for people like me and you watching this to give our kids a 90s and 2000s childhood. One of the reasons why I bought the VHS tapes again with my TV VCR player is to remove the stimulation from my son's brains when they're watching TV. What was happening was they were basically asking us to skip next every single time. They're really hooked on the TV. And since they've watched this, they're just a bit calmer, more patient, having to wait for this VHS tape to wind back. I'm going to say, based upon what's happening now, I'm going to put them as vulnerable. But if you talk about new VHS tapes, then obviously extinct. But I know so many people are actually buying VHS tapes right now. They would have been endangered if we'd done this a couple of years ago. They're now downgraded to vulnerable. Your parents' alarm clock. G are still living off the money that they made on these alarm clocks. They must have sold hundreds of millions, if not billions of these things. Every single 90s kid's parents had them. Now, the reality of these alarm clocks was, well, they never told the right time. and the alarm would wake up the whole house. It was staggering, the noise of that thing. Now, my parents moved house in 2012, so 14 years ago, and that's when they actually got rid of their alarm clock. But they literally survived with that alarm clock for over 20 years. Super well made item. Alarm clocks in today's world, especially this one, I'm going to call extinct because, well, we don't have them. Who remembers losing a school project because you lost your floppy disk? Something that I did on so many occasions. And these were storage systems which basically stored nothing. Like, they were so terrible, but it was all we had back then. You put your handwriting on it, and they were quickly removed for USB sticks and soon after storage systems on actual computers. These absolutely are extinct in today's world, and one which I'm probably quite thankful about because of the amount that I actually lost. Dial-up modems. You remember that dial-up sound forever. And watch this video, you're going to sat there thinking, this is an easy one, this is extinct, let's get to the next one. However, you and I, because I thought the same thing, we're both wrong. And the reason for this is, well, in our suburban areas where we're living, probably watching this, yes, absolutely, it's not going to be back into our households, let's be honest with you. However, in very remote rural areas, dial-up is still often used because usually the broadband hasn't actually reached them yet. Or you've got niche legacy systems where it can't actually connect to the broadband, it will only connect via dial-up. So based upon that, it's got to go in as endangered. In the next 10 years, I imagine that'll be completely wiped out and it will go completely extinct. But surprisingly to me, and to probably you, endangered is where this one lands. A CD rack told your life story growing up. Whatever music was on show at that moment could determine which stage of life you were at. And what used to just be so much fun was go around to your friends' houses and just seeing what music they had in their collection on their racks and then judging them massively for it. People say we judged silently, but we didn't. One of my friends had so much like hard rock and then an S Club 7 CD like slotted in there. A bit of a guilty pleasure, don't get me wrong, but it just was so unexpected of him. Now for me, I'm going to put these in the vulnerable category because I don't think CD racks will ever truly go away. I don't think they'll ever be extinct. Nobody new is buying them, should we say, like a new CD rack, but you've got so many collectors of CDs and vinyls. I just think this is going to become more popular over the next 10, 20, 30 years, and they will never actually go away. So for me, I'm going to put them as vulnerable. Could be considered endangered, but I'd say vulnerable is probably the right status for them. Big chunky TVs and TV VCR combos. In the 90s, your dad would project manage you and your siblings moving the TV from one room to the other. And whilst you're using all your strength to lift up the TV, get into the room, drop it onto the table, and the table collapses because the TV is just so damn heavy. Well, those big chunky TVs are not being made anymore, but, well, I'm looking at one. So for me, I'm going to put these down as a vulnerable species. The reason why I'm putting them in as vulnerable is the same as the VHS tapes. More and more people are trying to give their kids a 90s and 2000s childhood, which means that more and more people are going to be trying to get hold of a TV or a TV and VCR combo. So for me, I'm going to put it down as vulnerable. I think once we're maybe gone, then that's when they'll become extinct. But I think we've got many years left of the big chunky TVs still being needed for people. Finally, we're going to sign off with chunky PC monitors for similar reasons really to the TV. These things were indestructible back in the day and they weighed more than the actual desk they sat on. But similar to the TV, these things got thinner, the technology was better, the screens were better, and well, they became cheaper over time as well. We will not see big chunky PC monitors again. For me, these are extinct. Now that we've gone through these 20 extinct or near extinct items, what I want to do is hear from you guys. Which on this list do you still have at home to this day? Which will you just never part with? And from my comments, which do you just agree with or disagree with? I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the My 90s Thing YouTube channel. Thanks for watching and here is to the next one.